Have one more panel discussion before we proceed to the award ceremony, the glitzy event that's been scheduled towards the end of the day, which will see the presence of honorable guests, including the Honorable Minister for Finance from the Government of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Vijayaraghavan. So our plan is we will quickly proceed to the panel discussion, and then without an intervening tea break, we will move towards the award ceremony. Maybe after a while, once tea and coffee are ready, you could probably grab your mugs and be back. By 4:15, we will be all set for the award ceremony and the doors will close. Because we had a delayed lunch, we had to make some minor tweaks and adjustments to manage time. We would be happy to have you all here with this fully packed house for the award ceremony. So I'd request you to plan accordingly and enjoy the sessions here on stage. And as the stage gets ready, I would also like to thank our sponsors one more time. The TiEcon Kerala, TiEcon 2022 is powered by HSBC. Knowledge partner is KPMG. Our gold sponsors are KSUM, KEF, Muthoot, IBS, CanCall and Group Miran. Our silver sponsors are KSFE, ISAF, KIMS, KIED, KBIP, KSIDC and Lead Squared and KMTC and Suntech. Our supporting partners are Open, Ace Money and Manilas. The gifts have been sponsored by Elite, ITC, Tiara, Double Horse, Synthite, Dhadri, Baifa Ayurveda, Jacobi Chocolatier and Heal. So thank you for embarking on this journey with us. And now we are ready for the panel discussion. To moderate the session, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. G. Vijayaraghavan, Director, VMA Consultants, or GVR as he is fondly known, is a pioneer in the IT industry. He's played a critical role in heralding the Indian IT industry. He was also the former Director of National Institute of Speech and Hearing, NISH, Trivandrum. Hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I've been given a deadline on timing, so we are going to be very brief. I'll just start by saying that it was on this day in 1967 that the first heart transplant happened. Can we make that change in the way entrepreneurship is happening in this part of the country is something which all of us should discuss. The second thing, because it's a sector I'm very close to, today is also International Day for Disabilities. It'd be good for us to think of people who are marginalized also as we discuss on how we are going to go. We have a very eminent panel. I'm not going to introduce them in depth because all of you have the speaker profiles with you. We have Mr. Harikishore as the. Okay, I'm going to start by Mr. B.J. Arun, Chairman TiE Global Board, and he's also an independent director in Sterlite Technologies. Mr. Murali Bukkapatnam, who is the Vice Chairman TiE Global and Founder Chairman of Volksy Technologies. In fact, I don't think there's been another panel which is so high profile. Okay, you've got practically the most powerful people on the TiE board here, and you have the Managing Director of KSIDC, who I hope will join us very soon. I hope Harikishore is joining us soon. I know he has a brief presentation to make. But what we were exchanging notes earlier, one of the things I said is because we have a very brief time, what would be good is for us to look at what it is that really we want the ecosystem enablers to be doing. And look at crisp recommendations on that and see what can be done. You've been in a way on this side of it, which means as an entrepreneur, but you've also been somebody who's been encouraging entrepreneurship. So I'm going to ask, as chairman, I'm going to ask you to first talk about what you think should be done.
Thank you. So I think, if you think about TiE, started exactly 30 years ago, 1992. And I was there, in the Silicon Valley when it was getting started. First time entrepreneur in my late 20s. And so TiE actually has 5 pillars. And I'm going to quickly run through these 5 pillars and tell you why each of these are so important. And so, the first pillar is education. So it's very, very important for entrepreneurs to understand, what entrepreneurship is all about, what you need to know. The other pillar is mentoring. it's extremely important to have successful mentors, because these are people who have seen this movie before, they have gone through this journey before, and so without having a good mentor, it becomes doubly hard to be a successful entrepreneur. The third pillar is funding. So we have initiatives like the Thai Angel Network, we have a Thai India Angels, and so we do lots and lots of funding of entrepreneurs as well. And then one other pillar is incubation. So we actually also help incubate a lot of these companies. And so these are sort of things that I have personally benefited from. So I can tell you firsthand in that my own journey as an entrepreneur in the last 3 decades, it's just been absolutely essential. And whatever little success I've accomplished today, it's thanks to these pillars that I was able to extend me. So I think this is really what is important, and this is one reason why people should come and be a part of TiEcon Kerala, because this opens up this network of people, whether it's mentors or connectors and all of this stuff, or angels. We have 57 chapters in 14 different countries. So it's not just Kochi, it's not just Kerala, you actually become a part of a network which is global. And some of the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet actually come from Thai. And one of the things that we recently had somebody compute, and there's a KPMG report on this, is that over $1 trillion worth of value has been created from the Thai network. So absolutely invaluable, and something that I think I'm really blessed as well as proud that Thai has accomplished.
Thank you. Murali, your thoughts?
Thank you, Vijayaraghavan sir. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Anisha for inviting me to Kerala. There's also an opportunity to meet my friends like John, Ajit, Rajesh and others. And the reason I'm saying this is the gratitude, because this is what is required to create a successful ecosystem. If you look at any migrant population, right? First and foremost, 1 or 2 farmers will go to a particular place and look at the cultivatable land, the resources, the water, and then they invite their relatives, they invite their friends to create a colony. And that is what is required to create any entrepreneurial ecosystem. You have to look at what is the existing natural resources in that particular place, and how do you enable that natural resources to multiply to the next level. Would that be in the form of financial support, or it could be from the knowledge support in the way of mentoring, as BJ mentioned, or it could be in the shape of a fellow co-founder where the other person also digs that soil to farm the land, right? So the entrepreneurial ecosystems or ecosystems in general has to be taken into the consideration what is the natural resources available at that particular area, that particular piece of the geography. Every area cannot be Silicon Valley, every area cannot be a Bangalore, every area cannot be a Gurgaon. But every area can be United States of America. Together, the entrepreneurial ecosystem for a particular sectors can thrive in the togetherness, and that is what the ecosystem builders has to enable and propagate, right? That is what I would say are the most important aspects as we go about building the ecosystem. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Lee. I think good crisp first round. We have Mr. Harikishore, whom I talked about earlier, the managing director of KSIDC. In a way, you are the only person here on this panel of the 3 who's really part of the ecosystem enabler in Kerala. It'll be good to hear what the plans are and what is being done at this point of time. But I think you have a presentation. Maybe if they put it up, then you could go through that, yeah.
So thank you very much. Basically, from government's perspective, what are the thought processes to strengthen the ecosystem for industrialization, for entrepreneurship development in Kerala. I got a small presentation. Basically, I thought while speaking, this will act as a supplement. This will help people understand better. That's why I made a presentation also for a panel discussion. So the thought process in government for strengthening the ecosystem is, we have got 8 pillars. One is for enabling industrialization in Kerala, we need infrastructure. So government acquiring more land and developing more parks may not work in future because land acquisition etc. is challenging. So we are funding private industrial parks. We are giving 3 crore per private industrial park, and already 4 sanctions were given. Of course, for industrial infrastructure, we have 250 crore loan, etc. And one big thing happening in industrial infrastructure, the enabler in Kerala for infrastructure is the Kochi-Bangalore industrial corridor, which is coming up. So this is our thought process in infrastructure. Second, of course, finance is very important for enabling entrepreneurship. And one big thing which we are doing is all enterprises loans will be given at 4%. Of course, limiting to a cap of 10 lakhs. If somebody is taking 30 lakh as loan, we will give the 10 lakhs for 4%, the remaining will be at bank rate. So that is recently launched and we will be doing that. And of course, there are so many subsidy schemes, including 50 lakhs for startups, etc. I put only 3 schemes, there are 17 schemes. So schemes of government is another support for industrial finance. Then, I think Honorable Minister spoke about this. We have a new industrial policy to support the ecosystem. Wherever we go, we get feedback that, okay, there are other states which are having better policies or better incentives, why not Kerala? So we studied about the policies of all the 20 plus states and we incorporated whatever is feasible for Kerala, and this will be ready from next financial year. There are 21 potential sectors, as you rightly mentioned, which are the sectors which is possible for Kerala. So we identified 21 sectors and we are providing or will be providing a lot of incentives. So this is another thought process in government for enabling this. Then this is something really big in the grassroots level. Minister might have mentioned this. We have one person in every local body and that person is creating a real ecosystem in the field. Already about 1 lakh enterprises are created. And the best part is there is help desk in every local body in Kerala. That is only in Kerala. There is no such system in any other state. So in Kerala we have one person responsible for promoting entrepreneurship in each panchayat or municipality, and that is one enabler which we could support. Then of course, as government, any facilitation like providing technology advisors, schemes for promoting export, whatever is the feedback from the industry, we will be able to create facilitating system for enterprises. And this is something critical to strengthen industrialization or entrepreneurship. A lot of policy changes may be required. So a lot of legal issues may need to be solved. So till now my list is 64. We have a list of 64 policy tweakings or changes required, demand from the various association and industry, and we are taking one by one. Maybe in 2 to 3 years we will be able to solve. I will give one example. People from mining and geology, they said that government is giving a letter of intent for 1 year. And after 1 year, they had to come back and get that letter again. But with that letter, to get permissions and start a quarry, it will take 3 years. So we simply avoided the time. We said that it will be permanent. So that kind of policy changes. This is one example which was possible at my level, but some changes may be possible only at government level or legal level. So that will take 2 to 3 years. So this is another thought process for enabling entrepreneurship in Kerala. I think Minister also spoke about this. This is our real challenge, to communicate the positive things and to ensure that the success stories are communicated. We will be trying that. We request all your help for development communication of positive in Kerala, so that the entire world knows Kerala is also very good for promoting entrepreneurship. So this is a challenge which we will solve recently. And this is something which I put as a last slide. We gave training to, you were mentioning about giving training. We gave training to all my officers of industry department in IIM Kozhikode and EDIA, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Ahmedabad, so that they are also exposed to various things. And to all the 1,153 people in my local bodies, we gave training we are giving a certificate course on entrepreneurship to them so that they promote entrepreneurship and they are theoretically and they are practically oriented, theoretically also let them be strengthened. That is one. Then we also have a tie-up with MOU with Kerala Technical University. We have not done anything. We just have a tie-up and we will be supporting 20 problem-solving cases. If somebody has a problem, we can fund up to 20 cases and we will start this. And that's it. So these are the broad thoughts on industrial finance, infrastructure, enabling system from government's perspective. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Joanna. You've quickly covered what was required. I'm getting to the second round and a bit of a tricky question, but what is it that these ecosystem enablers should not be doing? Because sometimes, we don't know where the boundaries are and we start doing things which actually work against entrepreneurs. What is it that the ecosystem enablers should not be doing?
So I think one of the things we have to be careful about is that right now I know startups are the current flavor of the year and the darlings of everybody. But we also have to be very realistic as to what is it that we're trying to do in business, which is at the end of the day, you're in business to make a profit. Right? And so this is an extremely, extremely important concept to grasp, because otherwise what's going to happen is, we keep hearing about, unicorn founders being celebrated and, or people who have raised tons of money being celebrated. But fundraising is not the end game in itself. Right? The end game is to make profit. And so I think we have to be careful that in the euphoria of startups, everybody and their sister should not just jump into this and say, hey, we'll just do this startup and, we'll raise a lot of money and that's it. Right? So it's very, very important to make sure that you're grounded in reality. And it also takes a lot of hard work and it takes, a lot of experience building, a successful business. So I was speaking at a college 2 days ago, and this was for the first year of engineering students, some 1,800 students were just coming in. Half those, first year students wanted to give up or start their companies right away. So I was trying to tell them that, look, it's more than just saying I'll do a startup. You need to know how to do stuff, right? And so all of us who have been successful entrepreneurs, we have gone through the grind, right? We have, worked at places, we have got the experience, and only then, if you're lucky, you will become a successful startup. So I think we have to be careful that we don't just become very euphoric and say, oh yeah, let's just all jump into startups.
Actually, interestingly, there are some people who are not able to get through their engineering, second year, third year, can't go to the next one, and then they're excused that they're going to they're starting up something. And when you ask them why, they say, even Bill Gates did not complete college, okay? Then you need to tell them that Bill Gates did not leave college because he couldn't pass, but he left because he had a good idea to set up a business. So, interesting point there. Murali?
Sir, I think you asked a very pertinent and important question. For any entrepreneur, it's very important to know what he or she should not do. And it is the same thing, it's very, very important for any ecosystem builder, ecosystem, what they should not do. If you observe, and it's very common in India, we celebrate one success or one unicorn to a greater extent, right? You put them on every newspaper, every tabloid, on the first page, front page. So what happens is, every other entrepreneur, right, now wants to emulate or try to become that unicorn or the sunicorn. He wants to be in that newspaper, Times of India or Hindu newspaper, headlines, right? So basically what is happening is, as an ecosystem, you are driving the other people to failure much faster. So if ecosystem starts, putting brakes on the celebrating that euphoria too soon, then you're enabling the ecosystem to become a little saturated ecosystem. And this is one thing which you should be very, very careful about. I'm not saying that you don't celebrate the success, but how you celebrate the success, right? It is being celebrating a teenage birthday versus celebrating a teenage birthday to the next level, buying a Ferrari car to the teenager, right? So where do you draw that line, right? You want to be that responsible parent where you are patting on the back of that kid, right? Oh, you've done a great job. Here is your birthday gift, but not buy that Ferrari, right? So if you stop short of that buying the Ferrari, I think the ecosystem will respect and then many entrepreneurs in that ecosystem start believing the ecosystem and say, okay, there is a safe ground for me, right? I can become an entrepreneur, right? Everyone need not be a unicorn, right? People can aspire to be a 100 crore company, but now we have forgotten that, and that is what I think ecosystems should not do it, right? We should encourage people to build that 100 crore companies much more. There is a lot more jobs to be created.
Good point. Harikishore, I know you were involved with Kudumbashree and all for a long time. In a way, it was small entrepreneurs, self-help groups. What do you think that government should not be doing? I know you're looking at what government should be doing, but it is also necessary to say what government should not be doing.
The one thing is, don't delay decisions. Like, either yes or no. If you take the decision at the right time, than sitting on it and discussing and then finally saying no after 1 year, then you could have said 1 year ago. So if decisions are taken quickly, whether it is yes or no, that's not an issue. So if decisions are taken quickly, that is a great enabler for each and every activity. So I think that is the one thing which government should.
One of the things which a lot of people say is that there's the red tape they talk about. Okay, in a way it's what you mentioned, but many a time you have people running after unnecessary approvals not relevant to their area of work at all. At the same time, government has this decision now that you don't need a license for 3 years and you can start manufacturing. But what happens if after 2 years and 11 months, some inspector comes and says you don't have these, now you shut down. After this guy has been at it, build it up to a particular level, what happens at that point of time? How do we avoid that? I know a difficult question, but it'll be good to hear.
So comparing government with private is totally both are on different level. One is, say for example, if you are a design company and you have a key designer, if that key designer resigns and go to a different company, then that firm itself will close, because everything was depending on that particular person or a couple of team members, and it will never exist. So in such cases, you will have efficiency, you will have competitiveness, etc., because of the efficiency of people. And government system is totally different. Government, everything is depending on the system. If at the peak of the COVID time, if there is no key decision maker, still the system will. So the thought process in government is to strengthen the system without any, even if the leader or key enablers is moving away, the system will be there and taking it normally. So we are running that system. To run the other system, the challenges are different. To run the system, the challenges are different. But of course, in certain capacities, like in industries department, in tourism department, government is doing a partnership with the stakeholders. Of course, it is there in other departments also, but with society and all. So tourism department, for example, they are, it's a PPP with government and industry, where whatever is the requirement of industry, tourism government will be supporting. Similarly, in industry, whatever is the incentives or enabling systems required for industry, government will be doing that. So with that background, government started this K-Swift, where if you want to start an MSME, no need of any license, you can just go to the website, you can download the acknowledgement form, and you may be required to take the licenses within 3 years. So that was a system which government started 3 years ago. Now the question is, now 3 years are getting over. What if somebody did not take license in 3 years, and some legal changes which has happened in 3 years, which he may not be aware or may be aware, and when he is approaching the authorities for license, will he be penalized? We are getting some feedbacks regarding such discussions and all, and I think we will be able to solve it. We have 2, 3.
The new redressal mechanism which government has announced, will that help in this area?
One is when we tell this broadly, then there will be a couple of areas where there is a serious issue. Say one license of building permit of that panchayat will be the 80% of the problem which is happening here. So we will be able to pinpoint our problems to one particular area and we will be able to solve it. Second is, why not increase the 3 year to 5 year? That discussion is also coming up. So I think if there is a problem, we will solve it.
Actually, I have a point.
Please.
So I was listening to Minister in the morning, right? So he said that very unique thing about Kerala, where up to 50 crores of but you don't need any permission up to 3 years, or you can just right away start the business, right? And I think that is a very critical. I mean, Telangana, I'm from Hyderabad, and Telangana also has a Telangana I-Pass, right? So if government start doing or enabling such mechanisms where there is no requirement or no licenses required, you're really enabling the ecosystems to start and function in a frictionless manner, right? I think you have to applaud Kerala for doing that. 50 crores is a lot of revenue for a company, and it does take about 3-4 years for an SME to come to that
This
level.
is an investment of up to 50 crores, which
So
means
there
it could be
you go.
huge.
They're much like, so there's a fantastic opportunity, right? So for the question I know you asked, Harikishore Garu to answer that about what government should do or should not do. If government can do that frictionless mechanism, right, low touch. In fact, one of the reasons why IT industry in India has developed so much, because it is the government not being there, right? It is the absence of government in that industry is what has
Government did not have a ministry for information technology at that time.
Exactly. So can we have such mechanisms for in every industry, except for the policies and the pollutions where the sustainability and all those matter, right? So I think from ecosystem point of view, that's what I would say.
So basically what you're talking about, the government, as far as industry is concerned, moves to a facilitator role rather than purely regulatory.
Not just industries, I think it is any area, government should be a facilitator, that's all.
And not a regulator.
Not a regulator. But regulation is important in certain industries, right? I'm not trying to take away
We're
the
talking more
regulation.
of a self-regulation, and if one violates that, the penalties can be very high.
And that is exactly what Telangana I-Pass did, and I think that is what this new law of Kerala is doing, right? That's what is recommended, and that is what we should encourage. Even citizens of India, we all should encourage those kind of laws so that we become a much more self-regulatory state of affairs.
I'm going to ask one more round of questions, but if there are any questions that any of you have, please use the QR code and then send it. I hope somebody will give me a pad with the questions on it so that I can ask that. We have another 12 minutes and I want to stop on time. Otherwise, it's embarrassing to get slips coming up, So let's not do that. We'll finish it on time. So this is something which I want to ask all three of you again, is that, Arun, you've been probably seeing entrepreneurs around the world, traveled a lot. Same with you. You've been looking at what's happening in India. Which are the groups that we should be targeting? What sections of society should we be targeting to, talking about things so that we encourage entrepreneurship? Because again, I'm just telling, not that I'm talking negative, but in Kerala we have a feeling, and something which it's old baggage that we are carrying with us, that anybody in business is exploiting somebody. And I gave an example in the afternoon at lunch where I had years ago one of the prominent newspapers in India, his resident editor here calling me up and saying, look, in the Technopark, you have these guys sitting here and working for 30,000-40,000 rupees per month. Isn't it exploitation? Because, in the US, they pay them so many times more. And all I asked that person was, Chitra Subramaniam, who writes about Bofors from Switzerland, she's getting paid several times more. So is your company, either you're so inferior to her or your company is exploiting you. And then he didn't say anything more. But we need to change that mindset. So I just thought, ask you, where should we be really focusing on to get entrepreneurship become, I don't know to say a way of life, but TiEcon Kerala says we want an entrepreneur in every home. We can't have a guy who's exploiting people in every home. It's not right. So how do we get this in place?
So I think those of us who've been around the block long enough know that there was a time in India where even if you went to the movies, right, they'd always show the mill owner, or they'd always show the businessman as the evil guy, right? I mean, the rich guy, the Sethji, or whatever it was. It was always this negative character. So I think in the last 50 years that I remember, 50 plus years, is that, that pendulum has swung to the point where, particularly with the current leadership that we have in the country, etc., I mean, business is not a bad word anymore, right? Making money is not a bad word anymore. So those of us, as in the audience who are as old as me, would know what I'm talking about. So to answer your question, what section of people should we be helping? I think, entrepreneurs come in all sizes, shapes, colors, at all levels, right? So whether the chai wala or the samosa wala down the street, he's also an entrepreneur. he also needs some help, he also needs some, a hand, and he also needs motivation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in tech, it doesn't have to necessarily be, even 100 crores or anything, right? I mean, there are entrepreneurs everywhere. So if you really think about it, even the vegetable seller who comes in front of our home with his little cart, he or she is an entrepreneur. So I don't think we can sort of single out and say we'll only help this category of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are everywhere, and we just need to sort of let our fellow countrymen know that entrepreneurship is their ticket to a better life.
Murali?
Sir, before I answer that, I've been contemplating in my mind, right, what should be the right answer for the ecosystem. And I know that I had read this Sanskrit sloka, so I googled, so I'm going to read that out, then I'll answer. Udyamaha, sahasam, dhairyam, buddhi, shakti, parakrama, shadyate, yatra vartante, tatra deva, sahaya. So basically, industriousness, courage, patience, intelligence, power and zeal to distinguish oneself. If all these 6 attributes are in a person, then God also renders assistance to him. And I am in the God's own country, and I'm sure that God's own country will become that entrepreneurial ecosystem because all these qualities are there in the people of Kerala, right? So if we can enable that, so as BJ was saying, instead of looking at whom not to help, if we can identify these 6 or 7 attributes into the people and say, how can we amplify those attributes in every person? It's not a wrong thing to have TiEcon's ambition of having an entrepreneur in every household. In fact, we should have 2, 3 entrepreneurs from every household. Why not? And how can we amplify these 6 or 7 attributes in every human being so that, God will help the country and God will help the God's own country. That's my point, sir.
You were mentioning that a businessman is exploiting. That if somebody is asking, you should answer him by saying that he is not exploiting, he is helping the other people. Because you have a solution which other people are looking for. That's why they are buying.
I'm not mentioning, I'm saying the feeling that people have.
So every enterprise is helping other people. That is what. And which sections of the society should be targeted is I have 2 answers. One, somebody who wanted to start a business, he may be learning BSc physics and chemistry. And what is the need for that? He should have started the enterprise. And I went to a state as election observer. And my driver was there. I asked him, what are you doing? So he said, I am doing a business. This is a side business, driving is a side business. He has 3 cars. And then I asked him, what did you study? MA, M.Com, he said that, no, I completed class 12 and then did not do a degree. Then I asked, okay, degree is required for, at least for the sake of telling others that I have got a degree and all. He said, why should I waste my 3 years to do a degree? At the same time, I will do my business for 3 years. Parallelly, I will take the degree through correspondence if it is required for a social thing. So that is the second answer. The social system, social mindset to promote entrepreneurship is something which we should target. Second is targeting students, catch them in. So those who are interested, let them start their business.
In fact, very relevant. In fact, probably we should start at schools. That kind of work that TY is doing here, really start at schools to make people feel that, and celebrate entrepreneurship, something which we should be doing. This is a question which probably directly, Harikishore, you can answer. What is the go-to-market strategy for government with entrepreneurs as customers, rather than looking at as an enabler? How can they look at themselves as service providers? Government becoming something what we said about a facilitator, but government becomes a service provider to enable entrepreneurship. Service provider means you're going to give them whatever support they want to set up the business. So, let me give you an example. Years ago, Sunil Gupta must be somewhere in this hall. When Sunil Gupta came to set up his unit at Technopark, that's a time when nobody was coming this side. So Sunil Gupta's son's admission we arranged for him in the school. Sunil Gupta's, I think, gas connection we arranged for him. House also we found. Servant, I don't know, they found on their own, I think. But that is a kind. So can we look at that changing? I know at some point of time people did ask, why should you be doing all these? These fellows are coming here to make money. And I said, no, they were somewhere in Bombay. We brought them here. Now we need them to feel comfortable, okay? How can we actually change that attitude in government to say that, I will provide this guy whatever service is legally possible, I will do that and help out. Or maybe get agencies who will do that for them.
There is slight lack of clarity in the question, but anyway, I'll answer. One is, of course, some points which I mentioned is the enablers which government is doing as a policy matter. Now, as a service matter, I would suggest the example of tourism is really standing out. Kerala tourism enabled the industry, and industry also enabled the government to get more revenue. It enabled the people. So that way, government has set an example of enabling the industry in Kerala right here, and it's a global example. The brand God's Own Country is known everywhere. So that way, if a synergy in industry, in entrepreneurship, that is coming up. It has not happened earlier, maybe because of the social thought process. So I think a PPP with entrepreneurs, where government is helping them with
that would be a good thing.
Will, just like what we have done in tourism.
One quick last question which is there. Where should we complain if building permit, renewal of building permit already issued is denied by corporation giving silly reasons? I know it's too specific a question, but maybe there's some way you've been collector and there should be some way there. Whom should they complain to?
One is, as we mentioned, there are enablers in each panchayat. He or she will be direct point of contact person, and we have trained them to support. We have people in every taluk, we have people in every panchayat. If we can approach them with a specific problem, that can be solved. And for some problems, it may not be solved at their level. They will cite some legal reason, as per Act, this clause, this cannot be done. So in such cases, you can scale up.
Okay, there's one statement where I think we need to educate and coach the ecosystem with a mindset of purpose-driven form. But anyway, we have the last 2+ minutes left, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of you
Our purpose is employment.
If you look at the purpose, I just want you to take about half a minute, one strong recommendation which Harikishore can take back to his minister and say, we need to do this.
No, it's actually, this is for the government of Kerala, and I'm not from this ecosystem, so I'll actually defer to Murali. I don't even live in India, so let me at least have him.
No, just assume that we were in the United States and say what we should do.
I think just don't get in the way.
Great. Good answer.
I'm from Telangana, so I'm a little partial towards my Telangana government. Replicate what Telangana is doing.
No, he needs to keep a job. Go ahead, something else.
No. Basically, to the question which someone asked, right? I think what they were looking at government as a service provider. A lot of entrepreneurs in Telangana today are looking at government as their customer. So whatever the product, there are a couple of customers in the blockchain they've created for the record management in the Department of Education, right? The certification and all this. So if entrepreneurs can be enabled to use government as their customer and encourage, especially from the Startup Kerala mission or any of those entrepreneurs. So for the T-Hub, right, in Telangana, those entrepreneurs who are in T-Hub, they have given the opportunity, the first right to become the service providers to the government. So probably some of those policies, if Kerala were to take up, I think it will be a great ecosystem.
Don't say somewhere else, but just propose. Yeah. Harikishore, why don't you, anything that you would like to add to what we've done? About 5-6 seconds.
I agree to both.
Thank you very much. Anisha, I've given you back 1 minute. Time for the those big gift hampers. And I kept hearing her telling small giveaways. It's not small, it's big. So thank you very much. Excellent panel. I know I rushed you through, but very good points which came out. And in a way, we are one of the few panels which have kept time. So thank you.
We are humbled that you are our moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was one absorbing for piquing our interest. Thank you. Thank you, Shri Vijayaraghavan. Right from reminding us how to not get carried away by the euphoria of just starting up a business, but to be a realist. Thank you, Shri Murali, sir, for quoting that pithy Sanskrit quote, Sanskrit sloka. Thank you. that emphasizes and stresses on the need for certain attributes